Today's overlooked stock of the session is Aurora Innovation. George Tsilis going for a ride. Back seat. George, windows as you prefer, but nobody in the driver's seat.
That's right. Look, obviously there's a lot going on right now with the expectations of some policy and regulations, maybe some more favorable regulations for the suite of self-driving technologies that's out there. We know Tesla is a huge player in this space, Uber Technologies, Google, General Motors with their Cruise division. But there's a lot of fringe and smaller players like Aurora Innovations out there that is actually one of these self-driving suites of software, hardware, and data service-based companies. And the focal point of Aurora is not necessarily the mass consumer of drivers. Their focal point is more so in the commercial space, particularly the semi-truck space, and light and heavy duty trucks, which, if you think about it, is really an untapped area for self-driving that doesn't necessarily need perhaps some of the DOT rules to be very accommodative. A lot of these self-driving trucks, and this can include things like, for instance, mining trucks. There's not a lot of traffic in the mining industry, harbors, which essentially don't have a lot of pedestrian traffic to deal with, and then logistics and transportation, like warehouses for FedEx. These are concentrated areas where the variables in terms of the challenges for autonomous driving don't lie, versus a full-fledged urban environment that's very complex. So I think this company Aurora does have some promise with their technologies. Their past development stage, they're actually in the implementation stage, and with the expectations now in 2025 of April to beginning launching the prototype and testing of their technologies.
And ultimately, they're going to be selling the tech and partnering, almost like an OEM that's going to be making particular parts. In this case, though, it's going to be software. But the trucks that are going to start, I guess, are going to be pretty unique. I mean, because right now when we talk about self-driving, it's either like little delivery robots, or it's the Tesla and the Uber stuff, which is passengers and cabs. Whereas this is, maybe some more powerful machinery, possibly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think obviously, I think we're eventually going to get there. From the standpoint of passenger cars in an urban environment, I think we're still, way off because of the challenges from technology. You need seamless communication with the automobiles, obviously, with a central command center. Then you also have the dynamics and all the variables that go along with the pedestrian as well as the urban environments. But I think if you consider some of the non-urban environments, there's a lot of room for trucking, especially in contained environments. I think airports is just another example of where you'll start to see autonomous vehicle drivings, whether it's luggage carriers or essentially fuel trucks. These are things to just consider where there's not a lot of, pedestrian risk or other risks out there.
Seems like an easy place to start.
And so this
these are the types of the road, like commercial roadways, like in between airports and stuff, a lot of places where there's easy, low-risk self-driving potential. That's what's, I think, particularly interesting about it. By the way, it's also from the Waymo former CTO, I think. So, it's got a very legitimate, origin story. Chris Urmson is the CEO, co-founder from Waymo.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the folks who started and founded this company, this was also, by the way, a reverse merger via SPAC. It did hit some highs over $18 or so going back to late 2021. It's obviously caught a bid over the past 6 months with a lot of the growth stocks, particularly some of the technology names. We know Tesla's caught a bid. Even today, it even caught an additional bid because, Trump, is friends with Elon Musk, and now he's all for autonomous vehicle technologies. But it really comes down to regulatory scrutiny. But at the same time, I think we're still quite a ways away from, the urban environment for passenger cars. But the testing grounds, I think, for autonomous driving are probably going to start really quite aggressively in non-urban environments, particularly confined areas like airports, ports and things of that capacity, even warehousing, because they're major warehousing yards where you can have trucks just drive around autonomously without too much pedestrian risk. But nonetheless, I'll just point this out quickly, but the company hasn't generated revenue in the last year. They're only expected to generate 250,000 at the end of this year, and they're not expected to earn anything more than $400 million until 2027. So it's trading around 25 times 2027's sales figures. So just keep that in mind with the stock, trading
Right.
below $10, and it's been very volatile.
Yeah, the financial profile on this is still very, very nascent early on.
Correct.
So definitely a little bit speculative in that regard, but less speculative than a lot of other futuristic tech plays that, have popped up over the last couple of years. You got the Waymo exec. You got a good logical sort of baseline for where it could train this stuff for the commercial side of vehicles. Cool. Thanks, George. Aurora Innovation. All right, we'll watch more closely here. AUR.